Supercharging with BnB Podcasts, episode 40. I'm Brian.
And I'm Bear with the late start on the go live button. Oh, totally didn't nail that.
We focus here on quality. Sometimes low quality. It still counts. It's got quality right in the name.
Yeah, there's two types of luck. There's good luck and there's bad luck. So I wish everyone luck.
Yeah, so we've got a couple news stories today, I think. But I'm not positive. It's tough to say for sure.
Yes, we got quite a few things going on, including including me trying to work like a side angle here.
He's got a side hustle going on.
I got a side hustle, and it's interfering.
Apparently, paying the bills is a thing that his wife encourages him to do.
Yeah. So when you have a side hustle like Toro, and you've got cars coming out of your Wahoo, sometimes they interrupt with things like very important live streams. So so I'm going to critique Polestar right now because I'm trying to unlock a Polestar that's 35 miles from me for a Toro client. And right before Brian and I were talking, right 2 minutes before, we're like, oh, good, the guy messaged me now. I can unlock the car. And I sent the request, and the app did not work, even though it said that it did, and the customer got to the car. So the Polestar app, this is EV Talk. This is what it looks like. It's very generic. If you are a Tesla person, you know that the app looks a whole lot different. It's a very simple app. And it looks like, you know what happened? I don't think the guy found the car. But maybe that's the problem. It may have relocked itself, maybe, and that would be actually a good thing. I got tons of information from Polestars and from the Hyundai Ioniq 5 about the good and the bad. And one day I could, I'll sit with you, Brian, and tell you why they suck. And there's a lot of things I hate about these two cars, but there's a lot of things I do love. And I think it's in everyone's best interest to like look at all these cars and see what's good and what's bad. But there are definitely some good things.
So we should talk about some good news. Is there any good news this week?
Yeah, there's I think the Polestar thing is good news. And this guy is still texting me, wow, this is horrible. He's looking at the wrong car. End of the row. He sends me a picture of a different car. No, that's not a Polestar. That's a GMC. So, no, I don't really think there was good news, except for the Polestar app works so great. Other than that, I think we're done.
Yeah. Good show, Bear. I appreciate you hanging out with me for 4 minutes, 2.5 minutes.
Yeah. All right.
You know what? We should probably
talk about Nikola.
Oh, never heard of him.
So Nikola's a startup company that is going to be making electric semis. Yeah. And they just passed the proposal that they've been trying to pass for several months. And this is to dilute the shares, but this is something that every shareholder that has been paying attention and not asking silly questions like, will there be dividends anytime soon? But if you've been paying attention, you know that Nikola was going to do this, and they said so quite a long time ago. So they finally got this passed. 200 million more shares are allowed to be issued. And
the important thing is, this doesn't mean they're going to issue them tomorrow. It doesn't mean that when they issue them, they will all be issued at once. This means they have a bit of insurance.
Yes. And this will give them the ability to raise capital. And this will happen at their leisure whenever they can do it. And they don't, like, if the stock goes up to $12, they could go, okay, we're going to issue, let's say, 1 million shares.
Right. Yeah, they can do it however they want. And this gives them, there was a lot of talk. Oh, well, with their cash burn rate, they've only got until Q2 of 23 or whatever. This changes that a little bit.
Yes.
And that's all the Nikola news we had, unfortunately.
Yeah, there was nothing else, but except for this tiny little thing that happened.
Oh, what's that?
They purchased another company, like out of nowhere. I didn't see this coming myself. They're working on their vertical integration, and they have acquired Romeo Power, who was making their battery packs. And if you have been paying attention to Nikola, and I know you haven't, Brian, because you just heard about him about 10
Right.
minutes, 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Nikola said that the one thing that they're short of is battery packs, and getting the supplier to make enough of them. So Romeo Power creates these battery packs, and by purchasing them, they believe that they are going to be able to save $350 million a year within a few years, because they're not paying someone else to do it, and they're not trying to outsource to other places.
And they're not trying to reinvent it.
Right. Actually, this particular article says the acquisition could save up to $350 million over the next 4 years. I read other articles that said $350 million a year, or
Depends on the volume.
by 2025. So,
Just depends on the volume.
yes.
And but buying a company, how can they afford it? Where do they have the cash?
Well, no cash. They purchased it with stock that they
All
previously had hiding in their pocket, stock that they have not issued yet, which they had some in their pocket, basically.
Right, they had some left.
So they weren't dying for cash that badly. But the proposal two, you know what the best part about proposal two is?
No.
Is that it dilutes Trevor Milton's shares also.
Yeah. And Nicholas appears committed to succeed despite Trevor's involvement.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
we shall-
I think they're on a good path. Earnings call is on Thursday, and excited for that. I'm going to be live streaming that, and that will be good times. I'm thinking we're going to hear some good stuff.
Then what I will do is I will live stream a reaction to your stream, just mocking it.
Okay, all right, you can do that.
That would be funny.
I hope all the questions get answered.
And I would just crop out the official part, so it's just you and me just reacting to that. That's a terrible idea.
JJ says, Nikola making their own battery packs now. Are we Tesla enough for you, Daddy Brian?
On mine, he just said, Nikola news first? ? I'm telling you, JJ, when there's news, we report it. When there's breaking news, we break it.
Yes.
So, yeah. And are you Tesla enough for me? Is it about me? I don't think it's about me.
No, I always thought it was.
Oh. Interesting.
All right.
Interesting.
So let's move on, because I don't want this to get to JJ's head.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Yeah.
Jay Leno.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a new video out on the Cadillac Lyric.
Yeah.
He seems to like it. I wouldn't say that he was like super enthusiastic, like this is the greatest thing ever. But he did go over a lot of features in the car. He had someone from Cadillac there. And the car seemed a little bit better than I was expecting. And it's got one thing that I noticed that stood out to me that Teslas need.
What's that?
Well, it's got the full glass roof, but it also has a sunshade for the entire roof. And that would really be something that's awesome. My cars get so hot in the middle of the summer here. We're talking over 150 degrees, because the great app, which is much better than the Polestar one, will tell you the interior temperature of your car, and it's been over 150 degrees in that car.
Wow.
So you can cook an egg, but you can also cook your ass when you sit down. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard to impress Jay with a car.
oh yeah, God, geez, he's probably had every car that anybody would desire, and he's just got so much knowledge on all these different cars and different things. So to give him something and have him be like super excited, that's going to be hard to do. But to have him just like, yeah, this is good. I like this. I'm surprised with this. I like this feature.
I wouldn't be surprised if they give him a Celestique.
I don't know. They don't make that. They're not going to make that many.
No, but I don't think they're going to sell as many as they could make. It's too expensive.
Yeah. Yes. So what other new cars are out there? Or
as far as I know, none.
None. Yeah.
The Ioniq 6 looks like it might be heading out pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we talked about this like in a previous episode. This video's got some more details on it, more information. So if you're interested in that, I'm sure this will be down in the links of our description, and I'll have more information. It looks like Hyundai is continuing with their digital dot matrix thing that they're doing, like they did in the 5. They're going to do it in the 6 also. I think it's a cool theme, but I don't understand where it comes from. Is it like supposed to be digital because it's an electric car, or is it just a theme that they like? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I think it's part of the theme. I think they want something that sets it apart. Because for a long time, people said, how come electric cars have to look so weird? The answer is they didn't. It's just you only noticed them when they were.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, because there were plenty of electric cars that you just didn't know were electric.
Tim Boatfield had to make a mean comment. Brian is dreaming of having the problem of his Tesla getting too hot.
That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to complain about that.
Yes. Well,
but
sorry. One day.
I'm just a poor boy.
Yes. So here's my next car is coming up next.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we take a look at this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is absolutely what you're getting into.
Yeah, this is going to happen right after Never.
Mm-hmm.
So, awesome car. Awesome looking car. I don't know if it's actually an awesome car.
The reviews I've seen, the hands-on ride and drives, are very, very favorable.
Yes.
It is no compromises.
Yes. I've only seen good things on videos of this, and I think it's kind of definitely a neat looking car. My only concern with it, not that I'm ever going to get in one, is that I might be able to get a leg in, and if a couple of people squeeze me in, giving me a little bit of a push, I don't know how I'd ever get out without assistance.
No, I do. It's very easy. You open the door, you lay down on the pavement, and you snake out.
I snake out.
Mm-hmm.
I've already done that with other cars that I've gotten into. It gets kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
You look like a guy who's having some sort of middle-age crisis, and you get a Corvette, and then people are watching you crawl out of it, like in the parking lot at the physical therapist, and you're crawling out, and you just look really. It's a bad look.
Yeah. The car is beautiful. The performance looks good. And from this video, it looks like they're actually getting to volume.
Yes.
Who owns them again?
I'm just like confused because I think they own Bugatti now.
Yeah, it looks like they bought Bugatti from Volkswagen at the same time Porsche gave them $500 million.
Yeah, so it gets a little confusing about who owns what. I didn't spend that much time looking in it, but they've got, I don't know where they came up with 500, or they got the 500 million from Porsche, and then what they do? They went and bought Bugatti with that money?
It sounds like it. It sounds like it. It's a pretty interesting accounting game. Is that how you show profits these days? I don't know.
I don't know, but I'll tell you what, if there's a car company out there that wants to give me $500 million so I could go buy like Lamborghini, I'm down with that. So I don't know how that deal worked out, but it somehow did. So
yeah. Any
Hey, wait a minute. I'm going to interrupt our flow because this kind of looks funny. Are you looking at the CNN business page of electric supercar maker Rimac? Is that the one you're looking at?
Yes.
Okay, so I got 4 videos that are down at the bottom. In the 4th one says review the electric Toyota Buzz Forks is perfectly fine. You see? Do you see that one?
I do see that.
Okay, we'll save that for a couple minutes from now.
So good. So good. So Volkswagen has begun assembly in Chattanooga for their ID4.
Yeah, they are, and it
Do you know
looks
that
like
was even coming?
we probably talked about it, but I heard something about that they were going to be created. They're going to be building the cars here in the U.S., which, per our later conversation about EV tax credits, it's probably a good idea. If you can move your manufacturing over to the U.S., because it looks like we actually have some real incentives to produce your cars in the United States or North America. But I think they said in this article we're looking probably about October before we start seeing cars delivered from this factory.
And ramping to 7,000 a week in Q4 with the goal to further increase output next year. Should be good.
That is a decent amount of cars. Though we have reported in the past that their sales of the ID4 are dropping, aren't they?
Yes, but they're still selling every unit they make, so...
And maybe that's the problem then.
And maybe that's the problem. Let's get more units out there.
Yeah, let's get more units of the Chevy Bolt.
It's best value in America by far. And I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Especially with the tax rebate coming back.
Yeah, but saying something is the best value doesn't necessarily mean that that's a good thing, because ramen noodles are the best value for dinner.
Lentils.
Yeah, you're going to spend 40 cents and you've had a meal. Does that mean you had a good meal? No.
It means you had the best value meal in the dorm.
Right. And just like when you order off the value menu at McDonald's, it doesn't mean you're having the best thing on McDonald's, but I don't know what the best thing would be on McDonald's, but best value doesn't mean you're getting the best.
No. But, at least they've got things sorted out with the Bolt.
Oh, yeah, as long as you don't have another problem with it. So the Chevy Bolt has a $6,000 rebate with conditions?
So what it is if you bought the Bolt earlier this year before the price drop, they'll come back and say, hey, do you want that $6,000 back? We will give it to you. Oh, but one thing real quick. I need you to sign this hold harmless that you won't sue us if your Bolt goes en fuego.
Now, if they actually fix the problem, the chances of the car catching on fire is pretty slim.
It was always pretty slim.
Yeah, that's true too. But still, it's kind of shady to try and take the power out of the consumer like that. Almost seems like a strong arming. But GM wouldn't do anything like that, would they?
No. They are all about you having the right to do whatever you want with your car.
Like if I bought a Hummer, could I resell it?
No, not that. That's our car.
Yeah.
Yeah, GM doesn't people want buying its newest, most sought-after models like the Hummer EV to flip them?
Yeah,
we can't stop you, so what we'll do is kind of diminish the usefulness and value of your warranty. By all means, please flip it. Then we're off the hook.
Yeah.
No problem now. That
actually would definitely save them money. They would probably be very happy if people were to do that within 12 months. If you flip it within 12 months, the warranty is going to be probably void. But they're also going to be doing that with the Escalade and the Chevy Corvette. So
I don't know if that would survive a legal challenge.
Well, there's a lot of warranties out there that say you must be the original owner for a lot of things. So a lot of times warranties do not transfer over with certain things.
You know what? Now that you mention it, I remember seeing that there was something I bought from Costco and it said on it, and this is probably 20 years ago, because we're not an authorized reseller, there is no warranty on this product. but you can just return it to us.
Okay. Well, Costco takes everything back.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. I've never returned anything at Costco, but I've got friends that like have a weekly routine where they return like the mattress that they bought 8 years ago. And his mattress is no good. So
Wow.
yeah, I know it's true. It's a fact.
Abusive.
Oh no,
Mm-hmm.
just shut it off like
Mm-hmm.
GM did with the Hummer.
So what was it you were saying earlier about the Toyota Buzz Forks? It's
What a
fine, right?
yeah, that's what that video said. The Toyota Buzz Forks is fine, and that was a review. So, what in the holy hell is going on with this car?
Well, Toyota loves them so much they'll buy them back from you.
And
We just want to have a big collection of them.
okay, so you brought this article up. I saw an article yesterday that said Toyota was offering people $5,000 if they have purchased one of these Buzz Forks, and they should not be driving these cars until they can get some sort of recall fixed, which they may not have a recall for yet. But they will give you. I've never heard of a company giving you $5,000 to park your car. I don't think GM even did that with the Bolt. They just said let it burn,
Yeah.
but don't park it in your house.
Right.
So what's going on with this car?
So down lower on the article, there's bullet points. The $5,000 towards payment on your loan or lease or purchase price. If you paid it in full, they'll give you $5,000. Otherwise, they'll cover your payments up to $5,000. And please, we will provide additional time for complimentary charging at EVgo. So if you got 6 months of free charging, they'll extend it,
Right.
and they'll extend the warranty for however long it's out of commission. So they're just saying, just park it, and just park it.
Wow.
But the best wheels are no wheels.
Yeah, that's one way to save money on fueling it up. Maintenance costs going to be real low if you don't use them.
Yeah. Replacement cost a bit higher, but it's a trade-off.
Well, just going to go with it's fine.
Fine.
As the article said, it's fine. That when your wife says things are fine, it's not fine.
What's wrong, honey? Are you mad? I'm fine. Oh,
Yeah.
good. Okay, great. Well, then let's move on.
So when you see a review that says the car is just fine, that may have been written by your wife.
Oh, dear.
Just saying. Just saying. So who else is having problems?
Well, apparently, Porsche is recalling 40,000 Taycans. A global recall is related to the wiring harness of the driver's and passenger's seats.
Does it make it like just go forward and smash your face into the dashboard, or?
Well, there is a risk that airbags and seatbelt tensioners could be deactivated,
Oh,
which is a safety issue.
it is definitely a safety issue. That
Yeah.
doesn't sound like an over-the-air update on that one.
No.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah. It is too bad. And honestly, I'm a little surprised. But again, these are not imminent risks. These are outside possibilities, which is sufficient to cause a recall. Cars get recalls all the time.
Yes, they do. And I think Tesla just had a recall where the cars actually have to go in. It was not an over-the-air update.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was
know
for.
if that's a Hot Wheels Buzz Forks on the wall behind you. No, that's a Lucid.
That is a Lucid Air that is going to be given away to someone that can guess either Nikola's production. Yep, Brian's got one too. I've got 9 or 10 of them. I'm giving away a Lucid Air. I'm going to mail to a viewer that guesses the correct production and delivery numbers for Lucid, or the closest, and for Nikola. What's that one?
The Roadster.
Oh, the Roadster.
Yeah. Should have sent you that instead.
Well, I don't have a Roadster.
Mm.
Another car I can't fit into.
Uh-huh.
I feel like it's like height discrimination when they build these tiny cars that I really think are cool looking.
So who can afford an EV anyway?
More people now. That's the
Really?
rumor.
Yeah, it looks like the EV subsidies may be coming back, and in ways that are more targeted and more generous. One of the complaints I've always had about about the tax rebate is that you only qualify for it if you already pay over $7,500 a year in federal income taxes, which a lot of people don't.
Yes, and that meant that only people with a lot of money would benefit from it. Uh, that was a non-refundable tax credit, which is what it was called. Now it is a refundable tax credit, which you can even get at the time of purchase. There's a lot of things. You said that this makes it a lot more accessible to people. It also makes it much more complicated. They have definitely complicated this, but I don't think it's all that bad as far as a complication. I think the intended consequences, and I'm not sure it's going to come to this, I think the intended consequences is to get vehicles made in the United States and North America, to use resources from the United States or from countries that we don't hate, and we have free trade agreements with. By the way, do you know how many countries have free trade agreements with the United States?
Well, no, the list I saw had only about 20 countries on it, 15 or 20.
It is 20. It is 20. So there's only 20 countries that we can source the minerals for that you need for the batteries. And the countries on there were not exactly known for having a lot of these minerals. There might be a few. I didn't go too deep into that rabbit hole trying to figure out.
Chile's on the list.
Yeah. But
That's helpful.
yeah, there are some countries that are not going to be helpful as far as this goes. So I think that's good because we can develop more mining in places in North America, which if it's locally sourced, you know that it's coming from a good source, not being child labor or any of those crappy rumors that have floated out in the past. And also, if you have to move 50 tons of lithium, it's going to be a lot cheaper if you just need to put it on a rail cart to move it across the country to wherever it needs to go. So a lot of the caveats on there is as each year goes by, the vehicles need to have a higher percentage of these minerals. It's going to be a little bit hard to track. And there's going to be one company, I'm not saying Volkswagen would do this, that is going to say, yeah, we got all this from the United States. We're good. Just, we'll sign for that. And then like 10 years later, they're going to find out that it was some slave children in Zimbabwe or something that got the cobalt out of the ground. And they'll have to deal with a big fine at a later time. So we're hoping that doesn't happen.
So the big things on this that are unique, it also includes used vehicles. And it includes, for the first time, caps on how much the car can cost, which will limit some companies and limit some models. And yeah, it's based on percentages. So if you're getting your batteries from China, that's going to reduce the total subsidy available to you, the total tax rebate. And yeah, if the car is not even made in the U.S., it may not, or in North America, because based on our trade agreements with Canada and Mexico, we have to include them.
Yes.
Yeah. So
there is a lot of cars that are who are covered today that will not be covered next year. If you've ordered a car from one of these manufacturers, it will grandfather over, and you could use the $7,500 non-refundable tax credit. Some of those companies would be Lucid. Okay, if you've ordered a Lucid Air, it will no longer be eligible if you take if you order and get the delivery after the first of the year. If this gets passed, remember this is all if it gets passed. The Model S, the Model X, no longer, or they still won't qualify for anything. The Buzz Forks would not qualify because they are not assembled in North America. The Rivian might just put itself out of the running based on how they're going to use the are they going to use MSRP of the base model, or are they going to take the actual final cost of the vehicle with options?
I assume they would take the final cost with options.
That's not necessarily the truth. They may just take the base price of a model, and if they do, then the Rivians are okay at their current price. If they don't, if they take it with options, you will have a Model Y with full self-driving and get disqualified because they will go over the 80,000, which an SUV is set at. So the Lucid Air, their entry level is 70, or actually that's gone up. I'm not even sure where it's at, but it's a sedan. Sedans need to be 55,000. SUVs are 80,000. The Hummer won't qualify for anything. You won't even get a T-shirt.
Yeah.
The new ID4s will, the ones that are being made in the Carolinas, so they'll still be around. But there's a lot of cars that are just going to get kicked off the list that were previously on it. So like the Ioniq 5 that I just bought last month and the Polestar no longer will qualify. So, but Polestar is also opening up a factory in in the southern states. One of the southern states is going to have them. So they need to obviously get that out, because these things are going to make a difference of whether, people are looking at these cars. So some of these manufacturers stand to lose. Lucid stands to lose. Rivian could possibly lose. And there's other manufacturers that we've talked about, like Toyota. Most of their vehicles are not made here. They stand to lose. So it could be a bad thing for some of them, but it's going to encourage production of vehicles in the United States, which is obviously good for us Americans.
And like you were saying earlier, like John pointed out, Polestar's plant is in South Carolina. The big companies already have plants here. This will encourage them to build more here. And that's, I think, fantastic. Did you see about Canada's new luxury sales goods tax?
Yeah. They're doing the opposite of trying to encourage people to buy things. Yeah, so how much are they adding? 20% of the value if a car's over $100,000?
I believe it's 20% above the 100,000 mark. So if you bought an S or X in Canada this year, you may be on the hook for an additional tax you didn't know was going to be there.
There is a way around this.
What's that?
I met a Canadian this weekend who was telling me that a Model X in Canada would cost him like $190,000 a Canadian. I don't know what that converts to because I'm ignorant on other people's currencies. But I was like, wow, why? He's like, oh, there's just taxes and stuff like that. And he said, I can get around it if I buy the car and I leave it in the United States, because he has a house here in Arizona. If he left it here for 6 months, then he could go ahead and bring the car into Canada, plate it, and he would be fine going forward in the future. But he would have to leave the car here in the United States. Oh,
Sick.
oh wait, there was one other caveat, and this is the easy workaround. He has to be in the United States for 6 months, or have 6,000, I think it was 6,000 kilometers on it when he brings it to Canada. So I'm like, so you just drive up there, right? And then you're there, eh? And he's like, eh. So that's how you can actually get around some of these.
Interesting.
Yeah.
MD Hofstee points out 190,000 Canadian would be 152,000 US.
Okay. And that probably includes some of the tax that was already there, because they already had a luxury tax, didn't they?
I don't know.
Someone from Canada, please tell us.
Yeah. So that's great. In terms of the EV credit, that's probably all we need to say. Because you were saying that some companies are priced out.
Yeah, and we did have an article. Rivian's not happy to be left out of the new EV tax credit. They could always lower their prices. Apparently, that shouldn't be a problem for them.
Well, and the problem is the $80,000 limit for a truck. Wasn't that what they originally were targeting for their sale price?
Yeah. You know what? I went online to look at the Rivian because you used to be able to custom build and kind of get a price of what it would cost. You can't do that anymore. So I'm just like, I know that they raised prices a month or two ago, but I could not build a Rivian R1T or R1S. It just had a link to go, all right, reserve yours. And I'm like, no, I want to find out how much all the options cost, and I just kind of curious. And they're like, no, just give us your $1,000 deposit.
Well,
like,
we don't know how much it costs. We're finally willing to be honest about that.
yeah.
But I don't think there's any trouble at Rivian, right?
No. There's no trouble except for 840 people. Now, if you're one of the 840 people that work at Rivian who are now out of a job, hopefully you got some good EV experience, and you'll probably be able to find a job somewhere else. But they are laying off 840 employees, and it's not supposed to be happening at the manufacturing facilities, but I'm not sure what types of jobs are being lost. Do you have any idea?
Yeah. No, my guess would be, and I feel like we might have talked about this before, redundant stuff. Do you really need, 6 people in PR when you can get by with 2 or 3? Things like that. But 6% is a pretty deep cut. They got to get their cash burn under control, because it is problematic.
Yeah. Well, I wish them the best, and I mean the employees who are not employees anymore.
Well, yes. And like you said, I'm sure they will be fine. The job market is sufficiently tight that someone coming out of a place like that will not likely have much trouble finding other work.
And that, I believe, to be a fact. If they want to keep working, they should be able to get something.
Yeah.
We have no segue, do we?
No, I think no segue on this one. Electric cars don't need better batteries. America needs better charging network. That's something that's holding it back.
Yeah.
And, you can speak to this better than I can, but all the videos I've seen of road trips dealing with EVgo and Electrify America feel incredibly frustrating.
Okay. I will say I had my 3rd trip to Electrify America in the past week, and this was my first stop without having to call them, which is great. It was a 350 kilowatt charger. That was great too. So everything went very smoothly that time. It did not go smoothly for the guy who pulled up next to me, who was in a Tesla, who was renting it, and said, "What am I supposed to do?" And I'm like, "Look for an adapter or keep driving, because you're not charging here." So he didn't know that he wasn't supposed to be there because of the different charging cables. Yes, we need a standard. I don't care who wins. Just let somebody win, and let's move on so that we don't have like different gas pumps for different cars. Because that is
if I want to put diesel in my unleaded vehicle, I should be able to.
Right. It's electricity. It's the same thing.
Well, there's AC and DC, Bear. They don't intersect.
Oh, they can. All right. Yeah.
I thought that was a good one. Man, this on that article, there's a picture of that Mercedes EQS. Wow, what a turd. Hate it so much.
I think the inside of that car is beautiful.
Oh yeah. But on the outside?
I don't know. It looks like a whale's penis or something. I'm not sure what it... It's probably accurate. Nice. So. All right, so we have a new charging station that was put in. I'm not sure of the location, but I came across this and I wanted to share it. I thought this was kind of cool. This was a charging station, an EV charging station from 1917, and it looks like it's working better than most Electrify America stations. They've got at least 8 vehicles plugged in there, so and I wonder how many kilowatts that's going off.
Oh, very few, I would imagine.
Yeah, very few.
But also the range on these didn't have to be, this is, I'm guessing, like Manhattan or Chicago, where 10 miles of range would probably be enough to do your route.
Yeah, it all depends on what you're doing, I guess. I didn't really look through it. I just got awestruck by the picture. It's like, we're using this picture today. So I don't know where the picture is actually from, but I think it was kind of cool.
Yeah. And it's interesting, the power lines are built into the into the brick ground.
Yeah, the cobblestone brick ground
Yeah.
that was pre-concrete, wasn't it?
No, can't be. No,
Eh,
concrete goes back to the ancient Romans.
right, but mass use of it,
Or
maybe
maybe.
cement.
Hmm. Yeah. That is a very cool picture, though.
Yeah. Um, so speaking of electric grids,
Yeah. So this one annoyed me. Not last week, but the week before, I did this live. My Friday show was about how there are so many moneyed interests who are against all things Elon because he is disrupting so many industries. And I did get a little bit of pushback on it, saying, you're in conspiracy theory zone. We're not. This is known, leaked. U.S. power companies secretly spending millions to protect profits and fight clean energy. So these guys have this PR firm, and they're having some problems between the partners. And in the course of it, all this stuff came out because they'd rather attack each other than keep their secrets. Yeah, whenever green initiatives happen, money flows in saying, quick, go buy some politicians, go hurt some politicians. That candidate later admitted he was bribed to run. They will do anything to protect their moneyed interest, because if they spend a few $100,000 or a few million or a few tens of millions, it's worth it to protect these trillion-dollar industries.
yeah, this is a pretty horrible story. Just reeks of corruption, and they'll probably get away with it. I hate lobbyists. I think lobbyists are very similar in my eyes to car dealerships.
Yeah.
Just
They're
really not good people. Self-serving, will sacrifice everybody to make a buck.
Yeah. The idea behind it was good. Allow people from underrepresented interests to get the attention of lawmakers to pass some law that is good for everyone, but might not have widespread support. But it was instantly converted into what it is today.
Which is they all work for companies and businesses that I don't think they should have lobbyists because they don't have a vote. You can't vote as a company.
Right.
You're not a citizen. You should not have a right to influence politicians in any way. So I don't believe that politicians should be taking money, gifts, their family members, anything from any business. Because as a business, if you're publicly owned, you've got your stockholders. They can vote any way they want for a politician or not. If otherwise, you are just one entity. But with $10 million, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. And that's kind of, enough politics for my tastes.
Is that enough?
It is.
All right.
Have you seen the best-selling EV models in China?
Yeah, I've seen.
Number one is that Model 3, and at number 3 is the Model Y, with that $5,000 death box at number 2.
That number 2, I know it's transportation technically, but is it really a car?
It goes highway speed.
How quick does it really go?
62 miles an hour.
Not U.S. highway. Does it have airbags?
No.
No, right. So
No. You will not sell these. You could sell them outside of China, but only to countries with lower safety standards than China.
And I'm sure there are some, but those are not. That's just a death trap. It really is.
It's a death trap. More importantly, the price of this car, $5,000, is a number smaller than the margin on the 3 and Y.
That's
So if Tesla ever runs into a demand problem, they could still profitably have a buy one get one, where you buy a Model 3 and you get a Wuling to go.
yeah, or they can start removing airbags.
Oh, sweet gentle Christ. The exciting news on here isn't positions 1, 2, and 3, but all these other guys starting to get in. BYD Song, the Chang'an Benny. These are decent looking cars. I don't approve of having BYD's plug-in hybrid on here, but a lot of these are pure EVs.
Speaking of plug-in, did you see the recent article, or I don't know where I heard this, about the plug-in hybrid? Their efficiency is actually twice as bad as been previously reported, because most people who buy a plug-in hybrid don't plug it in.
Yes. Yeah, I believe that. I don't think I saw that, but that makes absolute sense. If you're not using it the way it was tested in the lab, you're going to get different results.
Yeah, and plugging it in is a completely optional thing, where usually if you bought it, took the tax break because it's a plug-in, and never plugged it in, you're obviously going to have different results.
And now you've got a very small, not terribly efficient electric gas engine hauling around battery weight.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
But that's what's happening.
I did want to say thanks to Mark for the super chat, and Chandra Das in the chat with the super chat, 420, nice. Had commented yesterday about this new thing called Energy Dome. It's just a big bag of CO2 that you could use as a low-cost air pressure battery. So quick shout out for that. I haven't had a chance to look into it too deeply, but thank you guys for the super chats.
Yeah, that's going to be produced right next to the Nikola Badger.
Go.
Maybe.
So did you know that there's a version of Bolt that doesn't catch on fire?
That's a good segue. That's a good one.
So there's a company called Bolt Mobility. Apparently they have vanished, leaving e-bikes, unanswered calls behind in several U.S. cities.
Does that mean we could pick up free bikes anywhere we want?
Technically still illegal. I don't know who would file the report.
And did you know this company was co-founded by Usain Bolt?
That is apparently true. I absolutely did not.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. I assumed that was a joke until I saw it.
Yeah, not a very funny one.
No.
Because I could have easily gone with a Chevy Bolt joke better. But you already did, which was actually a good one.
It's a shame. Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't have invested in something like this because I don't understand it well enough.
I've seen these bikes and these scooters, and I still don't understand how they just don't get stolen and torn apart and then reassembled without the tracking in it. I just don't know how that somehow works. And I'm sure there's a way, but it just... I also would probably get on a scooter and promptly fall and break a hip. So I don't think it's meant for people of our
these
age.
Are bicycles.
Yeah, but it's the whole concept of it. The same thing with the bicycle. I don't know how far I'd go before I drive into something. It's not for old people. There's a whole balance thing. Look at even our president can't stay on a bike without falling off. I'm close to that age. I would just tip over. It can happen.
Increasingly, it feels like the world isn't made for people my age.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we've got one more, and it's a good one.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about this?
Mr. Munro has another video out, and it was actually a really good video where he was getting Sandy Munro is getting his F-150 delivered to him. And who's going to deliver your F-150? Well, Jim Farley. And that's kind of cool to get the CEO to deliver your truck. So he got the truck, and he got an interview, and he got a decent interview. There was also some other people there. Chief Engineer Linda Hang. I don't know which letter's supposed to be silent. And the Chief electric vehicle officer, Doug Field. And they sat around for a good hour and they chit-chatted about things. I got a lot more respect for Jim Farley. Not that I had any disrespect for him, but just listening to him talk, he gave Tesla credit where credit was due. He flat out said Tesla is the EV leader in the world right now. He didn't start making claims that he's going to be number one in 20 minutes. He just said Tesla's number one, and he also threw out a lot of kudos to Sandy Munro, talking about Sandy Munro's work and the things that he's done for the industry. So it was a good video, just listening to like some of the thought process going behind the CEO's head. So very enjoyable video. If you like EVs, I would watch this.
And what impressed me is, first, that Jim Farley clearly is familiar with Sandy's work and has watched a number of his videos. That to me is important. That means you're actually engaged, as opposed to the former CEO of GM, Bob Lutz, who had never even seen a Tesla in person until after he had left the company. You're so disengaged, you can't possibly know what's going on. And when he went to meet with Sandy, rather than just show up and be like, hey, I'm a fan, he brought the people who can answer the hardest questions about not just the truck, but any electric vehicle.
Yeah.
Which I think shows a lot of respect and a lot of understanding. So I think that was pretty impressive.
Yes, it was. I just want to throw out to Tim Bofield, who says I should use AdBlock Plus. I do not use an ad blocker because I like to know when I'm checking videos and making sure the ads are actually working. So I stopped blocking them some time ago. I used to. So Deb Press says Mary Barrow would do the same. I don't think she would, because she has not in the past. She has said that.
She's welcome to. So let's find out if she does, because nobody else, this is only the second automotive CEO Sandy has sat down with.
Who was the other one?
Elon.
Elon.
At Starbase.
Did he not sit down with the Arcimoto one guy?
Not on his own channel.
Okay.
Arcimoto is one of his clients.
Yeah, that's why I thought he would have sat down.
I don't recall an interview with Arcimoto.
Okay.
Did he do an interview with Nikola when he went out there, or just the general overview?
He did do a little sit down, but I don't believe it was with Mark Russell. I think it was with the engineers.
Right, that's my memory.
Yeah. And
this is an important one. I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is very important. Paul pointed out that Mary led, and it matters.
Yes.
I don't know if we knew that, so that's super valuable. And in the comments, someone did say that they always see Chris Farley when they see Jim Farley, and they are in fact cousins. So that's why.
Yes, and I see the same thing. I'm definitely on board with that. I do see Chris Farley, and I'm waiting for him to start busting out into a fat guy in a little coat or something like that. But he's not fat, but it just that's like the one thing I always think of is Chris Farley singing that song, because like whenever I get into my Ford Focus or I get into any one of my small cars, I'm always like fat guy, and I'm always singing that to myself, which makes me think of Chris Farley, which then I go to Jim Farley, and then I go, oh, my Ford's over there.
Yeah,
just a weird
playing the long game on the marketing is what that sounds like.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
In a van down by the river. That's what Jeff points out.
Depress says when cameras are rolling, CEOs are on their best behavior. Then why did Mary sit there and lie to us?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. If that's Mary's best behavior, I don't know, man.
Yeah. And Tim says I should install another browser. He's right, I should.
Well, what I would say you should do is have the ad blocker and just leave it disabled until it's showtime, and then click it on.
And yeah, I should probably do something, because I know you guys don't like watching my ads. Because I wonder if if I'm showing an ad, do they have to charge the person putting up the ad? Like, do they give them extra money? No.
It's so weird that all of your ads are for Grinder. What is that?
It's a coffee maker.
Oh, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how do you take your coffee, Bear? Oh.
Black with little cream.
Very strong.
Yeah.
Very strong.
All right. Wow. That just totally devolved really quick.
Yeah. So hello to everyone in the chat, by the way. Thank you for being here. Mark and Paul and David and who is this? And John and, of course, Tech Vixer. We got to chat again. And Mark. Mm-hmm. Jim Farley's best behavior is pretty good, Mark says, and I would absolutely agree. I'd say he presents himself in a very CEO-like manner.
Total opposite of Chris Farley, who...
that would have been a good movie.
Yeah. I mean, remember the whole movie with Chris Farley he was making automotive parts.
Yeah. Big Tom Callahan's boy.
Yeah.
A lot of paint chips.
Yeah. What do you mean?
I may have seen that movie 100 times.
Yeah. Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it. My Charge Tesla wants to know if we are buying Ford stock or do we think that they fail to catch up? I will be straight up and say I do own some Ford stock. I'm not gonna.
I do not.
Okay. So.
I do not. But maybe that will change after watching this video. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just not good at picking individual stocks unless I know an absolute ton about the company.
It's fair enough. And it's hard to because you still don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Even then, you're just getting a more educated guess.
Yeah. Which still could be total horseshit.
So you know who I would like to thank more than Mary?
Mary's parents?
My patrons, who get early access, bonus content, all kinds of good stuff, and help keep the channel running for as little as $1 a month. Cannot do it without you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and my patrons, as everybody knows, are much better than Brian's patrons.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they're on both channels, then they are, I don't know, super Patreons, but not.
Yeah.
So I want to thank all my Patreons. I'm not doing any live streams of the factory sites this week. We're going to be doing live streams of the earnings reports from Nikola and Lucid. But Brian, you must have something coming for a live stream.
Yeah, I've always got my Friday live stream coming up. That should be fun. This week for my cathode building production tracker, I don't think I'm making one because the only things they've done are things that aren't on the tracker. There haven't been any new walls or roof or anything. They've just been pouring floors, which doesn't count on its own. So I may not make that this week.
Yeah, there's some plumbing going in. You got that on your little tracker?
No, I only count interior work as underway once walls are in place.
Yeah, you should call it the catheter tracker. It kind of rhymes.
Yeah. And then we'll see what kind of ads start showing up on those.
Just an idea. You know, a little clickbaity, I think, but not for the right people.
Right? And not for the right reasons.
All right. So, you guys, we want to thank everyone for being here. We do this every Tuesday at 4 p.m., and we will be back next Tuesday to do it again.
Yeah, and we simulcast live on both A Bear's Workshop and My Tesla Live, the second channel, My Tesla Weekend. Bear, thank you for hanging out. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, thank you for lying in front of everybody. I know as soon as we go off, you're going to tell me how horrible I did. And And I swore, and I got to stop talking about Chris Farley because it's not about him. But hey, I appreciate you being here. Always a good conversation with you and the people in the chat. Thank you, everyone, for being there.
We've got easily the smartest demographic on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Because I've been in live chats on other channels.
I think they did just beat out the makeup channels. You know,
that's That's what this is. All right.
For the
thanks,
record,
Bear.
I'm not wearing makeup. Okay.
Thanks, Bear. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you